Australia's government decision to ban children under 16 from social media has received a mixed reaction. Now, some believe the move is insufficient to curb the harm of social media on children. Joining us is Belinda Matore, doctoral researcher in child digital rights from the University of Pretoria. Belinda, thank you very much for your time this afternoon.
Thank you, Nompumelelo, for having me, and greetings to your listeners.
So this is the first ban of its kind in the world. But, I'd say that it's much more than just a policy move, Belinda, but more of a cultural shift.
It is indeed a cultural shift, because we are looking at excluding children that have been born and raised in a world where social media is not just a place where they play. This is where they interact. This is where they learn. This is their life. Their personal identities are built there. They have communities. They take information and retain information from social media. So now we are changing that culture for them to, adopt how we used to play at the play area or in the streets. And it's a huge change for children of today.
So, Belinda, you are absolutely right. These are youngsters who know absolutely nothing else about their identity outside of social media, right, and what they've been exposed to there. How could this possibly be bad?
So, removing them from social media is not necessarily fixing the problem. The problem that you are looking at is platforms were created or designed without children at heart. It was more of a place where we were supposed to interact, and we, for some reason, did not affect the children in, but they are content consumers just as adults. And they are also using these platforms as much as we do. And now we need to make sure that these places are safe. And the safety measures that are put in place to protect children, they also go to an extent of protecting adults as well, because generally social media is now a harmful space, be it for children and for adults. So we cannot now exclude children from a place that they are benefiting from, in as much as there are harms there. What we need to get to is the root of the problem. What is causing the harm? And the harm is being caused by the design, the current design of the platform. So can we change the platforms rather than excluding children as an easy way out of fixing the problem?
You speak of design. That's really an interesting perspective, because these social media platforms really kind of operate similarly, right? They're algorithms, and hence there are movements such as the Fix Our Feed organization, which is really calling for tech companies to allow users to opt into an algorithm and kind of design their own experience of social media platforms. Do you think that this is the way to go then?
I want to agree with that, because right now children do not have the autonomy to decide what they want to see on their feed. And unlike us as adults, you can redesign your algorithm. 1 minute you feel depressed, for instance, and you go and look for a video that resonates with the mood that you are in that moment. And then your whole feed now is suddenly filled with depressive content. For an adult, you can change that. But as a child, their worldview is going to be shaped from that perspective, because they are going to think that's how the world looks like. So there is the content regulation, there is the endless scrolling for children, there is the algorithm that designed to push feeds that create profits for platforms, because the longer we are watching videos, whatever content that's there, the more that they make money. And to preempt the question that people are always asking, to say, okay, fine. So if you are advocating for saying children should not be removed from social media, and you are saying this will not affect their profits, it's not about the number of people that are on social media. It is about the longer the time frame that we take in viewing the content that is there. And now for them to change the whole design of how, for instance, TikTok works, that would also affect adults. That means shorter time for adults too, and that means lesser in terms of profits. So now children are being sacrificed, and I'll use that word, sacrificed, because they are the ones now that are going to be used as, oh, we have fixed the problem, yet the platform is still unchanged, it's still unregulated, and it's still harmful, and especially to children. And removing them does not mean that they're not going to be on those spaces. They're just going to be there, but in the dark.
Yeah. So, Belinda, it is a tricky one. I mean, you spoke of autonomy, that children don't have autonomy, and that these social media platforms are designed to keep users as long as possible on them. I worry because children are not discerning of what they are taking in on these platforms. And because of their pure design to keep them locked in for as long as possible, they'll continue to go back. What kind of regulation would you deem appropriate then to ensure that children are getting, firstly, the correct content on these social media platforms, but also can be there for a limited period?
I'll still go back to, can we change how the platforms are designed? So can there be safety by design? And when we say safety by design, we're saying, can we change how the algorithm work? Can we change how, for instance, the likes or number of followers, can that not be displayed? Because it creates an opinion when it comes to children. Adults, you might say it doesn't matter, but for children, it does matter. Can we change the endless scrolls? And also, can we take into consideration that what removing children seems like it is a solution, but it is creation of a different harm on children, because now they are going to amend their ages. It's the current age regulations or mechanisms are easy to bypass, because you just go and you pick a year that you were born. So I may be born in 2005, and now I'm changing it to whatever year that suits the age that is required right now. Or because if you check at the Australian regulation, they are saying that they can still they cannot log in, but they can still view the content without logging in, meaning they are now behind the scenes. So whatever protection that they used to have, where they have reporting mechanisms, for instance, they don't have that, because they are there but not there. They are now operating in the dark. They can be watching content that is not appropriate for them and will not know. And that makes it difficult as well for parents to be able to chip in and see how they can best protect children. So it may seem as if it's helping, but the regulation is not helping. How we can go about it is, can children be there? But for instance, in South Africa, we are very pro education. Can we teach children how to be safer? Can we teach parents how to protect their children better? And simultaneously, can we be able to push for the narrative that can platforms be safer by design for everyone, including adults, so that no one is left outside? We cannot exclude. We need to be inclusive of children, so that we don't tread around infringing their rights unnecessarily so.
I mean, I like that you speak of parents as well and their participation in ensuring the safety of their children, because ultimately it's not the responsibility of big tech, right? They are always about the bottom line. But what do you make of a ban such as this and the access to diverse views, especially in times of LGBTQI+? We know that children have completely different views from their parents. I mean, there has been reports of increased misogynistic views on these platforms. What about their access to diverse views on various topics?
You raise a very good point. The South African regulation, the Children's Act, it does support what you're talking about, that we need to take into account firstly, evolving capacity of children, and secondly, the right to participate of children. And the Constitution does speak on freedom to access information for children, everyone, including children, and also Section 32, right to access information. So we cannot just exclude children from these spaces because, like you're saying, these are communities, they've built communities for themselves, be it is the LGBTIs, children living with disabilities, it's orphans that have come together and formed a group for support. So there are a myriad of reasons why children need these communities, and they find solace and company because for them, some of them are marginalized and they come from maybe families that do not support them to an extent that they want to be supported, maybe because they don't understand the gender they are going through, because we are living in different generations. So now, when we cut off this, it may seem from the surface that it is for the right reasons we are protecting children. But like I've said before, this is more of what is easier for the big tech right now. Is it to redesign the platforms or to act as if they are doing something, and in this instance is excluding children instead of fixing the root cause, which is the platforms and the current design that does not support safety.
I mean, Belinda, we do find ourselves here ultimately where big tech may make some amendments to the regulations or steps, right, such as age systems on their platforms. Ultimately, you spoke about education for these youngsters when using these platforms, the responsibility of the parents. Whose responsibility will it be outside of big tech, because they do have a bottom line? Whose responsibility will it be to protect these children and ensure that their use of social media platforms is not harming them?
That's a good question. So, like I said, we need to educate children because we take for granted how they can be able to be taught and be able to use the platforms in a more meaningful way, but it doesn't take away that they remain children. And secondly, parents also need to be taught on how to protect their children online, and we shouldn't take that for granted, because just because we are here, we have access to our phones, our laptops and whatever. There are those people that are in very different situations that they have never operated a smartphone, and now they have a child that is living in their under them, and they're the guardians of the children, and they don't know how to navigate and protect them enough. So we need to make sure that we do a lot of teaching on social media safety, be it its children, be it its parents, be it its grandchildren. Statistics say there are around 4 million children that are staying with their grandmothers, and these children, they also need safety as much as someone who is, I don't know, going to private schools, and this is now a form of living for them. So we need to make sure that everyone, be it you are within the urban areas or you are within the rural areas, you do know to a certain level how to navigate social media, and for the government as well to understand that this is a way of living for children, and the quick fix does not necessarily solve the situation. So can the issues be addressed with the big tech? We understand the consequences of that, but can we not sacrifice children in trying to promote the big tech business in South Africa? So I hope this does not get implemented in South Africa. Can we find better ways of implementing this, unlike following the Australian regulations on banning children under 16?
All right. Food for thought there for all sectors of society, really. Belinda, thank you very much for your time and insights.